endless white expanse, a freezing wind, and a massive ice desert where there isn't even a single tree to take shelter under. Out here, you don't get a second chance to make a mistake, because this land has only one ruler, the polar bear. But forget everything you thought you knew. It's not actually a land animal. With its Latin name, it is a sea bear. Technically, it is classified as a marine mammal, just like whales and dolphins. Its home is not land, but ice, and its hunting ground is not soil, but water. And this small detail hides the secret of how it became one of the deadliest predators on Earth. Let's start with its physical structure. But this time, leaving the numbers aside, the polar bear's skin is as black as a black hole. Most people don't know this. The white fur you see is actually made of transparent, hollow tubes. These tubes collect sunlight and direct it toward the skin. The black skin absorbs this light and converts it into heat. That's why I compared it to a black hole, because this absorption mechanism is the kind of thing we rarely see in nature. At -50 degrees, standing on an open glacier. This animal keeps its body temperature fixed at 37 degrees. No artificial textile has yet been able to fully replicate this level of thermal efficiency. But have you ever wondered how this 800-kilogram giant turns into an Olympic swimmer in freezing waters? The secret lies in the 10-centimeter thick layer of fat beneath its fur. This fat is not just a blanket that keeps it warm. It is also a massive living battery. When a polar bear can't find prey for weeks, it survives by burning these fat reserves. But here's the most surprising part. This fat layer also gives it perfect hydrodynamics. In other words, that bulky-looking body actually works like the hull of a ship, designed to minimize water resistance. A giant on land, but underwater. An engineering marvel that seems to ignore friction. The longest uninterrupted swimming distance ever observed was 687 kilometers. For 9 days, without stopping and in the open ocean, it covered this distance almost like an Olympic swimmer. This record was documented during a research study using a satellite tracking system. By the end of that journey, the animal had lost 22 kilograms. But it was still standing, and it was still hunting. Look at those paws. The front paws are wide like paddles and slightly concave. This structure is optimized both for swimming and for traction on ice. The underside of the paws has a hard and rough texture, almost like the winter tires on our cars, equipped with a natural anti-slip system that prevents sliding on ice. And the impact force generated by these paws is extremely high. A polar bear's front paw strike is stronger than that of a brown bear of the same weight. The reason lies in the structure of its shoulder muscles, positioned forward and optimized for swimming. This muscle group generates a much greater force vector at the moment of impact. As for height and weight, an adult male can reach up to 800 kilograms. When standing upright, it can exceed 3 meters. But this weight is not like the kind carried through forests by the European brown bear. This is weight carried on ice, floated through the ocean, and functioning in -50-degree conditions, and carrying 800 kilograms. Under these conditions makes this animal seem almost unstoppable. Every detail in this frozen world proves once again how flawless nature truly is. And as the Faunophile family, we do our best to explain this perfection to you in every detail. If you find our content high quality, you can support us by liking the video. Your support helps us tell even more stories from these extreme environments. So, how do you think the polar bear's hunting system works? Let's keep going. This animal primarily hunts seals, especially ringed seals and bearded seals. But this hunting method is built on a system, far more complex and surprising than you might think. Seals create small holes in the ice so they can breathe. Sometimes these holes are only a few centimeters wide, sometimes larger. The polar bear detects these holes by scent. Then it waits, motionless, silent, sometimes for hours. The moment the seal surfaces, it ends everything with a single move. This technique is called still hunting, in other words, silent hunting. And this technique requires so much patience that researchers have documented bears waiting beside a single hole for up to 8 hours. Its sense of smell makes this patience possible. A polar bear can detect a seal nearly 2 kilometers away, even beneath a 1-meter thick layer of snow. Think about that for a second. Snow blocks both sight and sound, but scent molecules slowly pass through the ice crystals. And the tissues that detect scent in this animal, compared to its massive body, are almost as sensitive as an ant. Take the already extraordinary sense of smell of a brown bear, then optimize it again for polar conditions. That is exactly what a polar bear's nose is. The second hunting technique is far more dynamic and much less known. A polar bear sometimes puts pressure on the edge of an ice sheet and acts as if it is falling into the water, scaring seals and forcing them underwater. Then it focuses on the point where they dive. This is a strategy, planned, intentional, and effective under specific conditions. And the existence of this strategy shows that this animal does not act only on instinct, but also through active problem solving. The third technique is reading fog and wind conditions. A polar bear positions itself against the wind. Always, while hunting, it never keeps the wind at its back. It moves toward the direction where scents will come from. This navigation is so precise that when researchers examined GPS tracking data, they observed the animals constantly updating their movement routes according to wind direction. This is not a reflex, it is a calculation. Now let's talk about the teeth. A polar bear's dental structure is noticeably different from that of a brown bear. A brown bear eats both meat and plants, so its teeth are shaped for this dual purpose. A polar bear is almost completely carnivorous. Its teeth are optimized accordingly. The canine teeth are longer and sharper, and the molars are narrower. And when the jaw muscles work together with these teeth, the bite force produced is extremely powerful. It can crush a seal's skull with a single bite. But be honest, is a polar bear's famous hunting strategy enough to break through the defense of a massive musk ox? Which side are you on? Don't forget to leave your favorite animal in the comments below. We need to dig into the intelligence of the polar bear, just like it breaks through the ice, because this is the least talked about aspect of this animal. When walking on thin ice, they have been observed moving without, shifting their weight forward, slowing down, and sometimes even pressing their bellies against the surface as they move. This behavior is learned. It is not something they are born with. Young individuals break the ice, fall into the water, and never make the same mistake again before mastering this technique. The way danger assessment, surface analysis, and body control work together so seamlessly shows that the cognitive ability of this animal goes far beyond simple instinct. The bond between mother and cub is also incredibly remarkable. A dark storm roars outside at -40 degrees. A miraculous silence dominates deep beneath the ice. In this narrow cave she has dug into the snow. A pregnant polar bear is not just escaping the freezing cold. She is preparing for the greatest challenge of her life. Even though the temperature inside is a full 30 degrees warmer than outside, the real battle is happening inside the mother's body. By the time the cubs open their eyes to the world, no bigger than the size of a human hand and weighing only half a kilogram, the mother bear has already begun an 8-month fast. Without eating a single bite, losing nearly half of her body weight, she gives life to her cubs. She literally melts her own body to produce milk, keep them warm, and help them grow. This is one of the purest and most difficult stories of sacrifice in nature. The Arctic ice cover is shrinking by nearly 10% every decade. For the polar bear, this is not an abstract statistic. Hunting grounds are disappearing. The ice platforms they can reach are becoming smaller. Individuals forced onto land cannot find enough food there. Body reserves begin to disappear. Reproductive success declines. Today, around 16,000 polar bears live in Canada. Compared to a decade ago, some populations have shown declines of more than 20%. And if this decline continues, what will be lost is not just a species. And on those endless, white, silent ice fields of Canada, this animal still walks. It still hunts. It still waits. But the story of this polar legend is not limited to the ice alone. The struggles for survival in these extreme corners of nature remind us how delicately balanced our planet truly is. As Faunophile, our mission is to bring the wildest and most fascinating heroes of this balance to your screen. If today's journey into the unknown world of the polar bear gave you a new perspective, you can support this story reaching even more people by liking the video. On our next journey, which wildlife legend would you like us to explore? And in what corner of the world? Let's meet in the comments. And if you do not want to miss these deep analyses and stories straight from the heart of nature, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Remember, understanding nature is the first step toward protecting it. See you in the next wildlife adventure. For now, goodbye.